Hello, my name is Cecile Katzoff, and I'm AGA Vice President for Practice Management and Consulting Services. And this is another in the series of short videos on practice management topics. Today we will be talking about the Medicare decision, whether you will be par, non-par, or opt-out. Every new physician who will be seeing any Medicare patients will have to make that decision when they first start practice. If you are currently a physician and you would like to change your status, you can do that during the enrollment period, which is usually at the end of each year. But as we all know, that changes determined by CMS and based usually on what happens with the Medicare fee schedule for that year. So, if you're a new provider, you can contract at any time. And as I said, if you're an existing provider, you have to change your status during the enrollment period. And your status applies to Medicare fee-for-service. The three options available to you are participation, non-participation, and opting out. If you choose to participate with the Medicare program, you must submit all claims to Medicare for all covered services provided to a Medicare beneficiary. And you must accept assignment on all Medicare claims, which means that whatever the allowed amount is the amount that you can collect in full. Medicare pays 80% of the allowed amount minus any appropriate or applicable deductible, and the patient is either responsible directly for the additional 20%, or if they have a secondary payer, the secondary payer usually pays the 20% and may also pay the outstanding deductible. You are permitted to collect both the coinsurance and any outstanding deductible at the time of service. As a non-participating provider, you also must submit all of your claims for covered services to your Medicare contractor. But you are subject to what's called the limiting charge. If you do not accept assignment on the claim, which you can do on a case-by-case basis, the limiting charge is 115% of the Medicare fee schedule amount. You can collect that payment at the time of service, but you still must submit the claim to Medicare, and the Medicare reimbursement goes directly to the patient. If you accept assignment, the payment that comes directly to your practice is 95% of the Medicare fee schedule amount, which would be 95% of the 80% that Medicare pays to the provider. You are then responsible to collect the balance of up to 95% of the fee schedule amount from the patient. If you choose to opt out of the Medicare program, your opt-out commitment is for a period of at least 2 years. What the contract with Medicare states is that you cannot submit any claim for reimbursement to the Medicare program, nor can your patients submit any claim to the Medicare program and expect to be reimbursed by Medicare. So you can charge the patient any fee you choose, and the patient is responsible to pay you directly. The opt-out option is usually limited to practices that call themselves boutique. In other words, you can either be in a location where your patients have no problem paying your full fee out of their own pocket, or you may provide a unique service that the patients are willing to pay for out of their own pocket. But what happens when you opt out is that often you are restricting your referral base, because many of your referring physicians may not feel comfortable referring their patients to you, knowing that they will have to pay your full fee out of their pocket. So in the chart that you're looking at now, you have the pros and cons of each of the options. The pros for participating is that you receive 80% of the Medicare fee schedule minus any applicable deductible directly from your Medicare contractor. You do not have to go after the patient for the payment. The only payment that you go after the patient for would be the 20% coinsurance, which would be covered if they do have a secondary payer. The cons of participating is that you are, in fact, limited to the Medicare fee schedule amount, and you cannot collect anything above the Medicare fee schedule amount for services that are covered under the Medicare program. As a non-participating provider, you are able to collect 115% of the Medicare fee schedule directly from the patient, and you can collect that at the time of service. The cons associated with non-participating is that if in fact you do accept assignment, your allowed amount is subject to a 5% reduction, and you must go after the patient for the difference between the allowed amount and the actual payment made to you by the Medicare contractor. Another problem with being non-participating is that you have to have two fee schedules because you cannot bill Medicare more than 115% of the allowed amount if you are not accepting assignment. That you would have to set up a separate fee schedule identifying that 115% of the Medicare fee schedule. If you are participating with Medicare, you can submit any fee to the Medicare program, and Medicare will automatically pay you 80% of the fee schedule minus any applicable deductible. If you choose the opt-out option, you can charge anything you like, and the patient is responsible to pay your full fee. The downside of that is you cannot submit any claim to Medicare for at least 2 years, and your patients cannot collect any reimbursement from Medicare for at least 2 years. And as I stated earlier, it may eliminate the option of receiving referrals from any physicians who would not feel comfortable sending their patients to you, knowing that the patient has to pay their full fee out of their own pocket. And then you are, in fact, responsible to collect the fee from the patient rather than receiving any reimbursement from Medicare, which may be difficult unless you are successful in collecting the payment at the time of service. If you need any further information regarding this subject or any other practice management subject, please feel free to contact me at 301-941-2639 or via email at ckatzoff@gastro.org. Thank you very much.